in the midst of a global pandemic, it's important to still call out sexual violence. To learn more, I talked to Tarana Burke, founder of the Me Too movement. Back in November, when the world was still just a normal level of shitty, I sat down with Tarana Burke, founder of the Me Too movement, and learned that I'm her Scottie Pippen and she's the Michael Jordan of telling the future.
Imagine if we woke up tomorrow and 12 million people came forward and said they had some rare disease. Our whole world would stop.
Are you psychic? What's the next earth-shattering event that is coming our way? And can it please just be like a super secret album by Beyonce or something nice?
I feel like, imagine if we woke up tomorrow and we had a person in the White House who really cared about its citizens and was deeply connected to moving us forward as a country and healing.
But the president can't even move himself forward, so people are marching together and taking matters into their own hands. Tarana is here to remind us that women can't be left out of the renewed fight for racial equality.
I've gotten this pushback that says, you're supposed to be Me Too.
Oh.
Why are you over here talking about Black Lives Matter? Mm-hmm. And, outside of my Black life mattering, right, there is a very direct connection between police brutality and sexual violence. It's not just when somebody is murdered. It is when a teenage girl is held in handcuffs in a van like the one was here in New York and raped by 2 police officers, right? People have to pay attention to sexual violence and the crisis of sexual violence because it really permeates every part of our culture, every part of our lives.
So times may change, but the way that we hate women remains constant.
Consistent.
After the use of excessive force, sexual violence is the second most reported type of police misconduct, and Black women and Black LGBTQ people are disproportionately targeted. For them, this fight is personal. When people say to you, this isn't the right time to talk about sexual violence, like how do you even respond to them? Feel free to use expletives, but can you not, this is cable, you can say whatever you want.
You know me so well. Yeah, because it does warrant a you. It's angering, it's triggering, it's dismissive, and there's never a time when we shouldn't, because we don't talk about sexual violence. A young 19-year-old girl, Toya Salau in Florida, is dead. She was sexually assaulted. The last thing she put on Twitter was about her sexual assault. She went to the police and she still ended up dead.
Right.
So we have to talk about it. We can walk and chew gum at the same time.
I'm not sure that we can do those things at the same time. You have a lot of faith in America. If we can combine a KFC and a Taco Bell, we can combine the conversation on police misconduct and sexual violence. If not for Oluwatoyin Salau, Breonna Taylor, and so many others, why does ignoring women never go out of style?
Think about the current movement, right? 3 Black women started Black Lives Matter. And there's still confusion from people around who started it because men emerged. So many people talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, who was an amazing leader, but who was a leader who was absolutely informed by some of the bravest, most brilliant, most badass women in the world. We don't have a civil rights movement if we don't have Fannie Lou Hamer, right? If we don't have Ella Baker, but we don't hear their names.
Why does the role of gender historically get downplayed when it comes to civil rights movements?
Oh, patriarchy.
Oh,
yeah.
Turns out that answer works for the rest of my questions. So,
yeah.
Bye. America might finally be at the precipice of dealing with systemic racism for real, but it won't work if we don't also address sexual violence. So I decided to hallmark that shit so people stop saying it's not the time to talk about it. How do we keep sexual violence in people's minds amid a pandemic and a big movement?
If we could pick a time to make sure people change focus for just a minute on these things, then maybe we can get people to adopt it.
Oh my God, every Tuesday could be Me Tuesday.
Me Tuesday. I'm not mad at that.
So what comes next, other than waiting for the TikTok teens to save us? What would police reform that takes survivors of sexual violence into account even look like? Feel free to use your wildest imagination, because that will need your imagination.
I can tell you that the call to defund police right now is integral in the shift that's necessary to support survivors. If we could move away from a law and order framework and move towards a harm and harm reduction framework, then you will save lives. Right. My wildest dream is that we not just reform what we have, but that we tear down what we have and we create something new.
And if her last interview was any indication, it seems like Tarana's wildest dreams have a pretty good chance of coming true. If you liked this video, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments below. And if you didn't like this video, I'm sure you've already left a comment. Thank you so much.